Great rising, y'all. Well, it seems that I have gotten into a mode of doing a video series on the recent postings that I put on YouTube dealing with how to help children to be their authentic selves. A series was not planned, but it has developed into that groove. So I just want to say thank y'all for expressing interest in my videos about the children. And I had a person yesterday pose a question to me about how do you deal with a child who lives in a household with parents who have different spiritual beliefs. And that struck a chord with me because it was something I believe needs to be addressed. So I told her I was going to do a video and tag her when I had completed it. So here is that particular video. First of all, I want to say that parents and guardians do not own children. Children are gifts. Parents are ideally supposed to lovingly raise children and to be their guardians and monitors and to be instrumental in showing them how to find out their own individual, unique, signature style personas. We are not to think for children. We are to teach children how to be critical thinkers. And children are born free. It is not until they go through the various avenues and paths of life that societal so-called norms are injected into them, altering their individuality and sometimes damaging them as a result. Children need to be taught how to think outside of the boxes, not to necessarily go along with the flow unless the flow agrees with who they are internally. And of course, they need discipline and certain restraints placed upon them, but not things to stunt their growth and development and individual styles and so forth. Now, before I proceed, I guess, into deeper aspects of this, I want to share a couple of accounts about my nephew, who's grown now. When I was babysitting him years ago, I decided to go into a mini lecture with him before I gave him some cookies. I told him about how I wasn't going to give him but 2 cookies because of the health ramifications as far as the dental situation, the cavities that could be involved in too much consumption of sweets. And I told him about some of the other factors that were in his best interest not to indulge in too many cookies or sweets. And so I decided I was going to give him 2 cookies. So as I gave him his my mini lecture, he stood there attentively listening to me when I told him about the 2 cookie situation. So when I finished, it didn't take long, a few minutes, I went to the lecture before I handed over the cookies. And all he said to me when I finished my spiel was, with a serious look on his face too, he had a straight face, he said, "How many you gonna have?" So I have to say, honestly, it was my intention to have more than 2 cookies. With my grown ass self, right? So when he asked me that question, I felt convicted. I said to him, 2. So all was right with him when I said that. However, I cheated. When he went into the other room, I snuck in the kitchen and got me some more cookies. So anyhow, I had a lesson that I was taught by my nephew. Don't tell me what you're not going to do, more or less is the signal he was sending my way. And so another day I took him out to the movies. And something jumped off, that went awry with the movie situation. And people went to the box office to get refunds. And I was one of those that went to get a refund because we weren't pleased with our movie experience, what was going on in the theater or whatever the case may have been. So I got a refund with some other folks and me and my nephew. We left the theater. And I can't recall his exact words, but he pretty much asked me for his part, what he considered his part of the refund. And it sounded logical to me. Which, now that I think about it, I'm like, that was my damn money, and I paid for the movie. But at that particular moment, he convinced me, don't ask me how, somehow, he managed, I should say, to convince me that I owed him half of the money. Which did I do? I gave him half the money. Anyway, I'm so tickled. I need to stop this video and do another one when I kind of calm down, because as I think back on that, I am so amused. So again, children have more sense a lot of times than we give them credit for. So I thank y'all for listening. Bye now.